Hey everybody, thanks for coming to check out today's video. I am going to be solving a problem that I have constantly had the entire time I've made videos for this channel and even before that. Every time I paint something, I want to hang it up, and unfortunately that means I end up hanging it randomly across the shop everywhere, and that's not a good way to do it. So I am going to be making a paint rack today out of some rebar and some of these wheel assemblies off of some sort of cart rack or something. I don't know. My uncle got them for me. And another special guest is coming back today, and it is the same special guest as before. It is Adam. Adam! I did him a favor, so I called in a favor and asked him to come hold some stuff while I, tack it together, because it'd be hard to, hold everything by myself, especially for how big this is going to be. Well, height-wise, because it needs to be tall, of course. So, let me show you how I did it.
We're starting out this project by removing the wheel assemblies so it'll be easier to remove a lot of the material of the actual frames later. Unfortunately, we had to do this by hand because I couldn't find an Allen head, wrench, socket, anything that would fit in the ends of these. So we did have to do them by hand, which was a little annoying. Especially when this one decided that it didn't want to come out, and we later realized that the whole rod is actually bent, so we were never getting it out by hand. So we put a big pipe wrench on it and finished removing the wheel so we could move on to actually cutting the frame down, because the wheelbase would be too wide if I just use the frames as is. And I'm trying to conserve, a little bit of space in the shop, and I know these outside ends, eventually, when I was walking around this, I would kick it, and it would just annoy me. So while I'm removing the middle section to put this back together, I'm just going to take those off so I don't have to deal with them later. And that's one side of the frame all cut up and ready to go. If you want to see me cut the other side, just back it up like 40 seconds and rewatch it, because it's the same thing on both sides. To put these back together, I am just going to clamp them, so hopefully the two sides stay pretty close to level with each other. I did use my grinder to put a small bevel on both sides so I would have a nice groove to weld after I finished tacking the frames back together. With both sides welded up, I moved on to making the base frame, and I'm using, I believe it's 5/8 or 3/4 rebar. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with it. It's all just random scrap. I don't know, I just grabbed it. But I am doing a X pattern for the actual frame, so hopefully, because it is just thin rebar, that it won't twist on me too bad and it ends up being stable in the end. But we won't know until I get there, so maybe some reinforcing pieces will be necessary, but I think it should be okay for the frame. with the base frame done, it was time to put the vertical pieces on, and this is where Adam comes into play. I couldn't figure out a way to clamp them to the base and keep them straight up top, so I asked Adam to hop up on the table and just hold them for me while I tack the bottom on. This had to be one of my favorite moments of this build, when I handed Adam the whip so he could tack the top of the two together, and he slightly struggled because it was a little too tall. I did forget that even though he is standing on the table, this rack will eventually be taller than me, so it is up there a bit. But the joke was on me because when we moved on to doing the second side, we had a little bit of issues, the both of us. First, the welder wouldn't reach, then the ground wasn't very good. I tried getting up in there and giving it a shot, and that didn't work, so I said, let's just throw it on the ground. But Adam disagreed and said, let me try one more time. This time, he got it. With that all done, we are going to move it back to the floor so I can start putting the top pieces on. With it on the floor, I actually was able to see how bad our tacks actually were, so I'm going to go through, put one more on each side before I actually put the top support bar on. And to make it way easier, I asked Adam to come and hold the other end, so I didn't have to fight with it too much. Honestly, for a lot of things like this, it's so much easier just to have a second set of hands hold it while you tack the other side, so you don't have to mess around and figure out how to hold it on both sides. Just get a buddy to come help you with it. The last two pieces I'm going to put on are these cross supports. Well, hopefully the last two pieces I put on are these cross supports on each side. If we get to the end and this thing doesn't seem super sturdy, I actually have two more that I will go through and put on, but if I don't need to, I'm not going to. Why waste the material if it's not necessary? The last thing I need to do is go through and weld all of these connections to make sure, hopefully, it's strong enough to hold anything that I put on it, but you'll have to wait till we get there to see the strength test that we're going to put it through. So let's get through this welding and we'll show you that test. No, I didn't need help putting it up on the table, but if Adam's there, might as well have him help me, right? Final step, all we gotta do is put the wheels back in, and we just made them flush to the top of the actual assembly because these things are ridiculously long and we didn't feel like doing that right now. We wanted to get to testing this out. So Adam decided to stand up there and see if my welds will hold, and we had to laugh at each other because, we finally saw eye to eye for a moment. And now, to really give this thing a test, I decided that I should step up and see if it'll hold all of my weight. Luckily, it actually did. So, we're gonna roll on out of here to some B-roll. And to be honest, my B-roll for this one is just us messing around with it, because we might be adults, but we're children at heart, so there's something with wheels. One of us has got to stand on it and the other one's got to push them around. I don't make the rules, it's just got to happen. Come on guys, you know what I'm talking about. This was inevitable. Thanks for coming to check out this video today. If you like what I did here, hit that like, comment, subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.